Do it very good.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so hello, we're Team Granada. We're here for the San Diego State University International Business Case. I'm Luke,
I'm Devangi.
I'm Mishti.
And I'm Andrew.
and again, we're Team Granada. So here we have our agenda. We have the background, which is basically going to go about the company. We have the analysis, which is analyzing the market and the Dropbox in general. We have strategy, which talks about our plan, where execution is how we execute our plan. And summary is going to sum up and have a conclusion. So starting off, we have background. So Dropbox is an application available everywhere to save your files and data. You're able to save files up to 2 terabytes, and colleagues are able to access and preview all your files up to 200 different types. The accessibility of Dropbox is The accessibility of Dropbox is able to go over all platforms, in addition with Google and Amazon, since we have partnerships with them. So we're going to go into their Dropbox overview with their business model. So they have 5 premium options and 1 free option too. So it's a freemium business model. So with the 5 options, they have different things for family and personal, while the other 3 go towards business. So each has their own different purpose. Here we have the analysis. So we're going to start off with Dropbox's analysis with SWOT. So with strengths, as I said before in the beginning, they're easy to use, install, and understand because of all their partnerships with Google, Amazon, Microsoft. It's easy to assign and implement into many businesses and many systems. So then with the next 2 strengths, we have security, backup, and retrieval, mobile access, versatility, and sharing. These are sort of guaranteed with Dropbox's motto, which is all yours. It makes it so you feel like all your data is secure, their security is great, and they make it easy to use and easy to access, easy to search. Going into weaknesses, we have 2 major weaknesses with Dropbox: user experience and passwords. So when it comes to user experience, many consumers complain that it's too slow, and then with passwords, they're not saved in a good way. And then with weaknesses, it takes large investments to collaborate with big businesses. So when we collaborated with Zoom, there was so much big investments into it, but in the end, it did bring back big return. So with the opportunities, we have new markets. So further on in the presentations, we're going to talk about markets that we can enter that many cloud storage businesses are not in. Another opportunity is innovation and growing demand for information storage. So that takes into apart COVID and how a lot of businesses went online. We're also going to cover that. And then adoption of mobile devices and services. So this is basically just Dropbox updating all their apps and adding in new features. So with threats, there's huge competition for cloud storage providers. With the giant businesses like Amazon and Google, all their costs are very low, and we're going to go into it by the competitor analysis right here. So we basically did it on prices, high prices and low prices. We did it business to business and business to consumer. So as you can see, Dropbox is in the top left, as with high prices and business to consumer. We do worry about how the high price competes with all these other businesses, but Dropbox can easily stand out with certain things like their security and other different performances that we will give out with more analysis. So here's the situation overview. So in the current situation, Dropbox is looking to go international, but they're not sure if they should pursue it right now. Securing market position because they're scared with all these giant companies that are coming in, adding so many more features. And then we also have policy effectiveness, where they put into effect the new policy where it's stay from home. So in solutions, we came up with a couple, like changing strategies. We're going to go from business to consumer to business to business. We're going to explore new partners, so we have an entirely new market that many cloud providers are not in. Building of existing partners, for example, like Canvas. Canvas is in all educators. There is education, and they're expanding internationally, exponentially, and we're going to review policies. So in future aspects, we're going to secure a new market where only Dropbox is used, hopefully, expand domestically, internationally, and increase customer bases everywhere. So strategy, we're going to start with the customer bases. So B2C and B2B. So with business to consumer, it's the thing that Dropbox started out. They used the land and expand strategy where it basically started at the associate level. Everyone basically took it up, so the enterprises and corporations were like, we need to applicate it into our businesses. So that's how it went. There's a lot of flaws in this because as other corporations came up, theirs became cheaper, easier to access, and all these big businesses like Microsoft was already incorporated in companies, so it became harder for Dropbox to actually go in. With B2B, it's very successful in the market when starting out. Yes, it may cost a lot when investing in these meetings, but it brings back huge returns. Dropbox also was certified by regulations like HIPAA and the EU PR, which opens up new markets. So ultimately, we did decide to go with business-to-business model. In the center, we have the e-commerce market, which does include the cloud market storage. It also, taking into account COVID, with all these businesses going online, cloud technology is more important than ever. So with all this coming up, cloud storage with like Dropbox should be able to expand everywhere. Two things I did want to point out was the large average deal size. So when you make a deal, there's high cost, but there's huge return. You only need to make a minimum of certain deals to make a profit and revenue. And the large market potential, where basically with B2B, once you get into one of these deals, there's high customer retention and high rate in turnover to customer premium. So next we have Devangi going into potential partners.
Thank you, Luke. So I'm going to go over the strategies that we recommend Dropbox use to maximize its growth. The first strategy is we recommend partnering with self-service providers. So this is a type of partnership that hasn't been explored by Dropbox yet, but has been by its competitors. For example, Google has partnered with Verizon, and Microsoft has partnered with AT&T. So this is something that Dropbox could potentially explore. The other partnership is collaborating with social media platforms. So Dropbox has already done it in the past with Facebook and Google, but it's not reached its full potential yet, as they've only focused on data archiving. To go over the cellular service providers, that's an industry that is very, very profitable for both the partners. For the tech companies, the sub-provider companies, they can incorporate these sophisticated and organized cloud databases and use that so that its users can share files more seamlessly across their networks. For the cloud service providers, they can instantly gain access to this extensive user base that the self-service providers already have. So to initiate this plan, we recommend partnering with T-Mobile. Currently, T-Mobile doesn't have any cloud service provider partnerships. It's got an extensive user base, so the customer acquisition cost drops significantly for Dropbox. Another important thing to note is T-Mobile has various established partnerships with local networks internationally. So if Dropbox is looking to expand globally, they could take advantage of these partnerships. So realistically, we live in a multi-network and multi-cloud world. So essentially, users aren't going to pick their self-service providers based on their cloud providers or vice versa. So partnering with T-Mobile is just the beginning of our strategy and certainly not the end. The end goal is partnering with every single self-service provider in the world. Next, I will talk about partnering with social media companies. So sharing data across social media is very convenient, but there have been concerns raised over how safe it is and how efficient it is. We recommend partnering with Discord. So Discord is the 4th most popular social media platform. It gained popularity from its gaming servers and is an incredible opportunity for Dropbox to partner with. So Discord has over 6.7 million servers, and a lot of data is being shared to these servers every single day. Unfortunately, Discord doesn't have a great file sharing algorithm right now. It only allows 8 MB of file sharing for its free users and 100 MB for its premium Nitro users. That is not enough or even beneficial for larger file sharing, and that combined with how slow their processing system is, that's really an opportunity that Dropbox can take to step in and help them be more efficient in their Discord algorithm. Next, we recommend partnering with Telegram. So Telegram is the 7th most downloaded social media platform, and it is predominantly used for business communication because it allows users to form groups that are more than 5,000 people. So Telegram, also similar to Discord, has problems with its file sharing algorithm. Interestingly, there's a new trend on Telegram due to the launch of its own wallet called WalletBot, where users are able to buy and sell their cryptocurrency. Discord could step in and, with its sophisticated cloud algorithm, make sure that these complex crypto transactions are recorded properly.
Thank you, Devangi. Now we're going to focus on the marketing strategy that we recommend Dropbox uses. We have two of those here. We recommend the company to invest further in outbound sales representatives and language support. Talking a little bit about both of these, outbound sales representatives. So this investment in this has three major benefits for the company as listed on the screen. So the first one is creating consistent pipeline, basically just establishing long-term and strong relationships with the businesses, which will lead to long-term and consistent incentives for sales in the future. The second is building personal touch. The sales representatives can tailor the message when interacting with the users accordingly, and they can also direct the message in that way more effectively and more clearly. And verifying and cleaning data, they can address any false information and fix up any errors that the users might come up with and help them to establish Dropbox more effectively and use it more better. Second that we have is language support. So we recommend the company to invest further in language support. So back in May 2011, Dropbox, one of the major barriers Dropbox had towards its global expansion was limited language support. And in the same year, to fix this issue, Dropbox did put some languages on its support roster, but those were limited to mostly users in the European countries and not exactly outside of the EU, not mostly outside of the EU. And that is exactly why we recommend the company to expand more in this. We believe that expanding on the language support will provide the customers, if we provide the customers that support in native language, it will give them a sense of even more satisfaction, and it will lead to better customer satisfaction along with a sense of belonging to them, make Dropbox's image and reputation in the market more diverse and inclusive, and it will also protect our customers from defecting to one of our competitors in the market. And yes, moving forward, I can pass on to Andrew for execution.
Thank you so much, Mishti. We're going to be flying through execution today. Focusing on growth in the EU, we have 1 public data center and 8 more. This primes them to expand into the European market. They have already updated their EU to the Cloud Code of Conduct of the European Union, priming them to expand in as other competitors such as Amazon and Google currently do lag behind. Another important thing is that during a recession, we probably should not be engaging in entering a brand new market. Finally, the relative strength of the dollar means that now is the opportune time for Dropbox to expand into the EU. Now, Dropbox is one of the world's first work-from-home companies. This is a great thing for Dropbox, as it is in technology, and work from home is, of course, incredibly embraced in the technology sector. Studies commissioned by Dropbox have shown that this increases productivity and engagement through them, but you may be like, well, that's skeptical, but it is important to know that Stanford has also done a study on this with a company that has 13,000 employees and found that there was a 13% increase. Now, finally, minimizing risks, we have competition, and competition is increasing across all the boards, including from cloud services from Amazon and Drive. We, of course, would like to shift to B2B, as in the B2C market, they've completely fallen behind and are unable to compete with their competitors, such as Microsoft and Google, as they are already in all of these households through things like Google Drive, and everyone knows Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. Their inability to convert consumers, you may have heard today that they have a very high conversion rate of 4%, but that number is actually from 2013, and their conversion rate is much closer to Google Drive's of around 0.8. Finally, they have increased the risk to their security through February to September. From February to September, there's an ongoing attack from an Israeli-based espionage group. This is the increase, and you can see because of that, white hat and black hat hackers have increased their hacking to find holes in the system because Polonium showed that it was possible. We can, of course, see the associated costs right here and rising compensations, but these are, of course, outdone by an increase in revenue. And then Mishi will quickly run you through the timeline.
Thank you so much,
In the
Andy.
conclusion.
So the conclusion, in conclusion, we're just going to go through what all we covered in our presentation, the adoption of B2B model and the potential partnerships that we recommended the company to use, like cellular service providers and social media channels. Next, just further investment in marketing and expansion in the European Union. And we also examined and studied the virtual first company policy of the work from home policy that the company adopted and its efficacy and the improvements that we suggested for the same. And that leads to the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your time and patience, and we now open the ground for any questions that you may have.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's really different if anything, in how you are advising Dropbox to go forward compared to what they've done all along and gotten to this point?
I think the crunch of the difference between us and the competitors is transitioning from their B2C focus, which they talk about a lot in their documentation. Instead of entering these companies through a single consumer, as they do, like they want to enter a branch, and then that branch expands to the whole corporation, we would like to shift that to focusing on B2B, because the B2C market has just been completely taken over by Microsoft, Google, and Apple.
I did want to add in with the B2C and B2B, where when a lot of companies from B2B, when they go out to all these corporations expect them to know how to treat customers, because most corporations started with B2C, and that's how you treat customers, have a customer base, it's like customer service. And with B2B, they're now expecting them to know how to do it. So now B2B is coming up and learning all those skills, where B2C does have the skills with interacting with customers and whatnot, but it doesn't have the actual skills of knowing how a corporation runs from top down instead of bottom up.
Finally, I'd like to finish that with going to the timeline, which is two back. Right here, we can see that instead of focusing from B2C into B2B, we're going to be transitioning them to focusing from B2B to B2C.
First, thank you. I now officially know what SSL actually stands for. So I was always like, oh, that's what it is. I like how you structured, you were very clear about what your recommendations were, and I thought, I had a question here. Which cell phone provider? And then you told us which cell phone provider. You have these new partnerships, and you mentioned a recession. How do we see how the recession also plays into how these partnerships, like what is your backup plan? Like what, because also partnerships could also, suffer in the course of a recession.
Yeah. So the partnerships are, of course, like a big part of our plan of expanding expanding exposure into like households, like through Discord and Telegram. But I think we'll be shifting to that later in the trajectory, like through 2027 through 2030. So just kind of like shifting our focus away from this market that's just being oversaturated.
Yes, I did want to add in, just because we are shifting from B2C to B2B, that doesn't mean we're taking away all of B2C, because most of Dropbox product and how it got out there was through word of mouth and social media. They were able to go viral with social media, and that's basically how they got started. They were able to get these hundreds of thousands of people to sign up right away because all these word of mouth people and going viral with all social media. So that means that could still work even in a recession, and all these small companies and medium-sized companies, when they take up Dropbox, it's very easy to implement with their access. It's actually ranked number 2 I know they're ahead of Amazon, Google, and then also there was one other one. There's another one that's easier to access just by barely with certain points, but it's one that's not too well known yet. So I do know with smaller businesses and medium businesses, we can still continue the B2C and the word of mouth and going with social media, because that could still provide the background and the backup that we need to actually get into the B2B and raise up enough money to do those investments. Then after the investments do happen at some point, they'll be able to continue it.
And where do you see your highest return? Is it in your large corporations or
Yeah.
in the small to medium sized?
So we see the largest return in the large corporations just because, so the most investment they put, like with their partnership with Zoom and also now their partnership with Google and Microsoft and all of them, mainly Google and Zoom because they're able, like everyone in colleges can see it, and with Canvas too, these all are incorporated into education or it's incorporated into everyday usage. I know when getting this case, me personally, I totally forgot Dropbox existed, but I knew it was everywhere. Which sounds bad, but it was literally everywhere, wherever I looked. Like, when we use Canvas, it's right there, it's easy to upload, it's easy to put everything together. So basically, most of our return would come from all these educations and big businesses because they have so many employees in it, and playing the premium model or the enterprise model, it's around $20 per employee. With all these corporations that have over 1,000, over 5,000, over 10,000 employees, that's huge return for them. And especially, also, they're also running different tests and have a program where they're able to take these employees, they fill out a little survey maybe like once a month, and they give stuff that Dropbox can improve and work towards to just make it towards a little personable towards that corporation. So sometimes they'll have like one corporation that wants a little thing added in, and they'll just do it for that corporation rather than all the corporations because it doesn't work for everyone. I do know with Canvas, as Canvas is expanding overseas, we didn't really get to go into it with international. Canvas and Dropbox obviously has that little deal that they made, and Canvas is actually expanding at an exponential rate with all these overseas schools. And so as Canvas expands internationally, Dropbox will also be heard more of in all these developed countries, and there is also more data on these developed countries where they make more money from it, like in Thailand. It is developed, but there's low population, and when they tried to invest in there, it really didn't go good because they didn't get a lot of retention rate with customers, even word of mouth didn't work well, and they made very little revenue. So with Canvas, them expanding in the UK and Ireland, that's also where Dropbox did get to see major revenues increase.
So I have a two-part question, and I know the answer to the first part, which is important here. Are you using Canvas because they reached out to you, or because this university told you, we use Canvas, that's the platform, you gotta be on it?
Actually,
You want
Canvas
me to go?
didn't reach out to us.
Okay, so
But
given that,
we knew of Canvas, and I think Canvas is such an important educational tool, and it's growing so much.
but the university pretty well bought into Canvas, and you don't have a choice.
Well, the thing
So
is,
how did they do that? And what does that tell you about how you're gonna do it for Dropbox?
so the thing is, our university doesn't use Canvas.
Yeah.
I transferred from a school that used Canvas. I know Canvas got into that school because the school was looking to change their own system because their old system that they used wasn't up to standard with what they wanted to do. So it's more so some schools are reaching out because now that Canvas is expanding at an exponential rate and their name behind it is so huge now that many schools are reaching out. Canvas is the number one, what's it called, SSL? No, something else. Learning environment tool online. Since it's expanding exponentially, schools are now reaching out to Canvas because like, can we implement it because it's shown to be so effective.
It's also important to note that both Dropbox and Canvas are goods that pride themselves on their ability to be on both your laptop, your phone, everything, which means their companies have a lot in common as far as their technological setups.
Also, I know we touched on it, but this just partnering with Canvas isn't our solution. Our solution is more than that. It's a broader picture, partnering with every single educational tool that there is. And going out there and partnerships are a great way to make money for companies like this, especially cloud-based companies like this. So our goal isn't exclusively Canvas. It's whether it's Desire to Learn, whether it is, I know a lot of other educational tools also require file transfer, so this is universal.
Where is your marketing platform? So Zoom is a verb, Google is a verb, Microsoft has never been a verb. who are you marketing to? Because I know of Dropbox because these other ones never existed when that was the only solution. If all your partnerships are behind the scenes with Canvas, so Canvas is the one that's up front, right? As a student, I'll see Canvas the way I used to see Blackboard. But I didn't know this whole time that they were in the background as the cloud store service. Who are you marketing to? Because how do I get to know that I need to find you and make a deal with you if there's not a billboard? And everybody that you're partnering with, they're the front name? It's Zoom. It's never Zoom plus Dropbox. But yet Zoom has Dropbox. So how, I didn't know that Zoom had Dropbox until this case study. So who are you marketing to?
Like I said in the timeline, currently our market is B2B businesses, but we've said it in the timeline too, from 2027 to 2030, we will begin to focus more on the B2C model as well.
Is it all word to mouth then?
Our marketing is the salespeople, an increase in the
Yeah.
salespeople and the sales staff that reach out directly to these businesses that we identify need the service.
I did want to add in, when we went over the SWOT analysis, I didn't catch this too much, but one of Dropbox's biggest weakness is their sales team, because they barely have any sales team right now. It is going to cost an investment to invest into these salespeople and these sales teams, because these sales teams will be going out and pitching a case where Dropbox is sort of marketed as, in addition to like their cloud service that is easy to use, easy to search, easy to have everything in. So these sales teams would go out and give it out. Like Google and Zoom are more B2C, where like you really learn from consumers, and like Google, you can easily Google, like it's always there. That's business consumer. For Dropbox, we really want to go more to business, where it might be behind the scenes. We're not really focusing on each person from the bottom up, like land to expand. Like originally they were land to expand, where basically they got all the associates to basically download Dropbox, and then it would implement into the entire companies and enterprises, because everyone at the bottom level used it, so that we have to use it. Now we're trying to go top down rather than bottom up.
Any final feedback? Or?
Yeah, I thought you guys did a great job. I'd just say slow down a bit. Slow down.
We had it exponential. We had to ramp it up.
Andrew definitely took us for a
Warp drive.
Flew through the expansion.
I would also ask you to consider, if you're going to go with sales staff, a lot of companies now also are working from home. So how are you going to reach me in my house? It's no longer peddling insurance on the door to door. So also consider how, if you're moving into more sales staff, more companies, and more especially startups, we're going back into the garage model of starting our stuff from home. So that's why I asked, where are the billboards? Like so it could be social media, I don't know. Youngsters use social media more than anything to market. So just think about how recessions also are affecting companies' abilities to maintain storefronts.
I think it's wise that you're looking at a whole big range of potential partnerships and not banking on one hit or miss, because whoever you think is your ideal partner, when you get there to make your pitch, just may not see the world the same way and really disappoint you.
And I like that you targeted other demographics that I don't think other people considered, like gamers. Because it's not just about school, it's not just about business, it's also about people who just use huge amounts of data and data storage. I think the gaming community is
I
big.
add one thing that we completely forgot to mention this, but one more big overlap is that Discord and Dropbox is using a lot of tech industries which have a lot of gamers. So there's a huge overlap in that user base.
Nice job. It's a hard case.
Yes. Thank you
Very
so
good.
much for your time and coming out and giving us your time.
Thank
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.